Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. And for a limited time only, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code GYB50. That's how Alberta wins.
Oh, yes, we are talking about practice. Edmonton Oilers, one of the most compacted schedules to start the regular season in the entire league. Finally, get a couple of days to work on some stuff at practice. And as Struddy has been prognosticating, it's going to fix everything. Welcome to the show, folks. This is an off night Got Your Back live stream. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. Looking forward to breaking it down. Rob Brown will be joining us from Parts Unknown a little bit later in the show. We got Zuby, we got Struds, and yeah, you saw it in the title, Sir James Duthie. Here to push his latest creative endeavor on all of you. I have to say it's worth it, though. I will begrudgingly admit the guy pulls together a pretty damn good book. Certified Beauties, it is. And James is going to join us in a couple of minutes to chat all about it. As always, our show brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. Their commitment to process helps their team create some of the finest custom homes in Edmonton. If you're thinking of a garden suite, infill development, or a fully custom home, make sure you talk to Timberhouse. If you can dream it, they can build it. With a full team of in-house designers and decades of construction experience, they will bring your ideas to life. The team at Timberhouse also wants to mention they're a proud sponsor of the Westmount Community Sleigh Ride and Food Bank Drive at Twice Cream. November 29th is the date for that, 3:45 to 6 o'clock. There'll be a Santa, a little barbecue action, free hot chocolate as well. So great charitable endeavor from our great friends over at Timberhouse Developments. As we say good evening to Struds, who just came in under the wire, Zuby. Like, Struds is normally super reliable. He's Mr. 5-7 minutes early. He got here 30 seconds before the live stream was starting. I was starting to worry, Struddy.
Yeah, well, I always give you the heads up when I'm going to be late. So I was out coaching, and normally it's a 15-minute drive home. But for those that aren't in Edmonton, it's snowing. So that pretty much doubled my commute home. Unanticipated hiccup. But I made her. Spun out a couple times, but I made her.
You came flying into the chair like Kent Brockman on The Simpsons, coming in, boom, hit it, spinning. I thought, big sigh, and then he's like, just as you see him now, it just took like 1 second, one big deep breath, and he's ready. Cracked his knuckles, and he's ready to go.
First snow drive, right?
I can only imagine how excited you are talking about practice tonight. You have been talking about practice for a month, and tonight we actually have video from practice, and we're going to break some practice down, buddy. This is it. This is your moment.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear. You said it'll fix everything. That's what I said. I said it's
I was being
part
a
of the
smart
solution.
ass.
It's
I was being a
part
smart
of
ass.
No, but people in social media, they take it like, Struddy said this will be it.
Yep.
It's part of the solution because they haven't had it. And a lot of teams haven't. I get it. But this is a condensed schedule. And looking ahead, I mean, what does it look like with less time in next year for training camp? But anyways, practice matters, especially when you aren't playing well.
Look forward to getting to that. I'm going to get yelled at here. Nobody leaves James Duthie waiting, and he's been in the green room waiting here for 4.5 minutes. So I'm not sure if he's even still there, Chris. Did he leave? Did he get frustrated and leave?
I think I see him.
Okay.
Here, so I think
Let's get to our breakdown.
Shape.
Let's get to James Duthie in our breakdown, brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House during every Oiler game day at any Edmonton and area location. Enter to win Oiler home game tickets at Rogers Place. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian and Coors Light tankards, 30-plus beers on tap, 50-plus TVs at all locations. Been a good 4 or 5 months since I've heard a peep from my good friend James Duthie. And suddenly, out of the blue, I start getting text messages. Hey, Rye, how's the family? Hey, Shogger, how's things at work, bud? And like they just started leaking in over a period of a couple of weeks, and then he hits me with it. So, what's happening on the pod? You want to talk a little Certified Beauties with us? James, did you do this to all of your so-called friends?
I just go into our text chain because I don't think I ever asked about your family. I just said directly, when are you going to have me on the pod? Yeah, there's nothing in here about your family. I just got right to it. I mean, you would think that somebody who's been your friend for whatever, I mean, practically every podcast in the country is asked to have me on, and this was the only one that I've had to let be on.
I like to make you grovel a little, just a
and
little
then
bit.
You're also the only one that's introduced me as here to push his product. But
Here it is, buddy.
It's fine, but it's just a cold way of doing it.
No, I know, but
if you notice Darren Drager, true friend, if you watch Insider Trading, it's always over his shoulder. I never see it in your background. Even Struddy's in the book. He's one of the stars of the book.
Yeah, fair enough. I wanted to have it to show people, because as much as we make fun of you and are going to poke some holes in you tonight, James, it really is. It's solid. I was able to read a few chapters and your last book, and this one as well. So it's always good content, buddy. Let me ask you this. How many stories end up on the cutting room floor because they're just, maybe the rating is not quite appropriate for your publisher? Like, there must be some beauty stories that don't make it into this thing.
There are, but for the most part, it's not like guys aren't going to tell me something that's X-rated that's going to ruin their career for the most part. Right. I mean, Struddy did tell me a couple. No. Actually, I think it's funny because, some people, I ask guys for one great story. That's the premise of the book, right? But then you get guys like Struddy that tell me 8, and so I put them all in because it's impossible to leave them untouched. We'll say, I'll just tell this story. There was one player who I won't name who's still active, who told me a story where he was healthy scratched and he was mad because he'd been healthy scratched like 7 times in a row. And so he went back to the hotel and he just ordered like 2 buckets of beer. So he drank like 12 beer, and then somebody got hurt or something, got sick in the afternoon, and he had to play. And so he was drunk for the first 2 periods of the game. Yeah. And when he finished the story, it was a funny story, but I said, do you really want me to put this in the book? What will the NHL think? Well, and so I decided on my own to veto that because I was worried it would look worse on the guy than he thought maybe it would look. So I've scratched a couple on my own, but for the most part, that's the point of the book. Like, there's some that are a little walking on the edge, but that's what you want to do, is take people behind the curtains, right? And I can clean a few details up here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the way you put them all together, mesh and make it make sense. Now, as you're putting together your list of the beauties, are you led to someone say, hey, go check out this guy? And you're like, which guy? This guy? Like, I don't think this guy's funny. Then you go and you interview this player or person, and it's just pure gold.
Yeah, especially this book, because the first book, you sign a book and I had to come up with 50 stories, and I was kind of panicking that I don't know that many people in hockey, or I wouldn't be able to get them. So I was just asking every single person I knew, basically. And but then after that book came out, the first Beauties, a lot of people were saying to me, you have to talk to this guy. You have to talk to this guy. I don't know how I missed you, Struddy, for the first one. I did almost every sportscaster I know except Ryan, as I mentioned. And the publisher just didn't feel there was enough name recognition there. But
this is actually a text. Can I just I'm going to pause you there, James, just so people understand our dynamic. This is an actual text from him. I would have put a story from you in the first book like I did for Bob and Dregs, but the publisher just didn't think there was enough name recognition. Text me.
Yeah, but you leave out a lot of details. I was being nice, saying, hey, so when are we doing the pod or whatever? And you said, quit groveling like a beep. Bad enough you're annoying everybody with this thing. You're acting like a beta. That's how the conversation started. So at that point, I think it was time.
A little tete-a-tete.
Yeah, it was a little tete-a-tete. But that's what you and I do. But to your question, Struddy, after the first book, I got a lot of people saying, you got to talk to this guy. You got to talk to this guy. Like, you might have even done that for me. Kevin Bieksa was one of the first guys I interviewed at the Cup final in Edmonton a couple of years ago. And when Bieksa's done, he's like, you got to talk to Brendan Morrison. He's got this crazy salary arb story. And I think he sent me to Darcy Hordichuk too. And then you talk to Darcy Hordichuk, and he says, you got to talk to Todd Simpson. He's insane. And Todd Simpson says, you got to talk to. So it's this little game of, I call it 6 degrees of Kevin Bieksa, where you just get passed along to better and better stories.
Am I seeing it's on Audible? Is it actually did you voice it?
Yeah, it was weird. It was
That's right up my alley.
It was like you're in an editing suite for like 14 hours, and you're like, Jason Strudwick felt like he had to go that night. You know what I mean? It's really weird. I feel like, it's like poets should be reading their own book, not me reading stupid hockey stories. And you also realize it's very hard to read. Like, you feel like an idiot because you can't. I would make a mistake every second sentence, and the poor guy on the other side of the glass is like, all right, let's pick that up again.
So, yeah, well, not like you do it for a living, right? Not like not like you need to read smoothly for a living.
I don't actually use a teleprompter. I know you have one on your phone that you set up for all your live hits, but I don't use
that. Hey, are you a natural writer, James? Like, I think it maybe comes easily to some, and they can kind of cruise through their content. Like, what's the process been like for you? Because it's multiple books for you. How would you sort of compare when you finish this one to maybe back when you first started?
Well, I would say these ones are easier in a way because, as you point out, Ryan likes to point out that I'm just stealing other people's stories.
I never said that. Monetizing them.
You just say, dude, I think your opening text was, so what's a percentage to the guys who give you these stories for free? So if you get a guy like Struddy who tells you a bunch of good stories, and honestly, as a writer, you just try to stay out of the way, right? Mm-hmm. Like, tell the stories. Maybe you have to put a little segue in here and there, or make a couple things make sense. But for the most part, you don't have to be a Pulitzer Prize winning writer to tell great stories when they're told to you. Once in a while, if the story is, there have been a couple of times, like sometimes when I hook up with someone, that sounded wrong. Sometimes when I get somebody on the phone to tell me a story, or I sit down with them, maybe the story isn't great, and that's when I have to get a little more creative in telling the story. But that doesn't happen very often. So it's much harder. Like the book I wrote, The Guy on the Left, which was kind of like stories from my own career, which I'm sure you were in, Ryan, multiple times, like when you woke me up on draft day at 4 a.m. when you came in from the bar. That was one of our first falling out that we ever had.
Did that make your book?
I don't know. It's probably in there because I told basically every story of my life because I'm not that interesting. But it's much harder to write about yourself, I think. When telling other stories is easy, just stay out of the way. When you're trying to write your own stories, I think that's a little bit harder. And obviously, if you're writing fiction, which I don't know that I could ever write.
You know what, James? I've read many of the stories in both books, and what I like is that when I'm reading it, and I don't know all the guys, but I know some of them. Hear the talk. I mean, like it because everyone has their own way of telling a story. When they're like like BX, I know how he talks, and like he kind of machine guns it sometimes, and I can just hear him saying that story. And that's why one of the things I love about it. It's almost like you can feel or hear each guy telling their own story in their own words, in their own language.
Yeah, well, I like what I wanted to capture is if we were, the three of us were sitting in a bar with whoever's telling the story. Or me and Ryan are sitting in a bar with you telling the stories. And that's what I wanted people to feel like when they're reading it. So on the ones that were successful on that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, for sure. So there's some Oiler content in the book. We should tell this is an Edmonton pod. We're not going to get you to retell the Oiler stories because people need to go listen to them or go read them. But James, just give us a bit of a highlight of the Oiler content in there. There's a beauty from Struds in his time overseas. I think there's some Sam Gagner content in there as well.
I don't mind. I'll give people a quick outline. They don't have to hear the whole stories. I was always been fascinated with Sam's 8-point night because we did the game that night. And I don't think it gets talked about a lot. Maybe it gets talked about more in Edmonton, but it's kind of this crazy, like this was a guy who had come off a miserable season. I think he had going into that game, he had something like 6 points or something on the entire season. He'd come off an injury. He was having a horrible year. And no one's done it since then. And I don't think, a player of like Sam's been a really good player for a long time, but of his stature to do that. So I wanted to really go into the detail of that night, what everybody was thinking, what he was thinking. So that's in there. Struddy, of course. There's a great story from like the 90s about 6 Oilers missing a team plane back in the pre-charter days when they had to take commercial flights. And I think it's amazing how you forget details of your own story. Brent Gilchrist maybe had his stag the night before they were supposed to fly. And a bunch of guys, Shane Corson, Luke Richardson, although it wasn't Luke's fault. Louis DeBrusque. 6 of them missed the flight. And they all didn't know they missed the flight until they all got to the airport together. And so the stories have them trying to scramble to get to Buffalo and then having to meet Glenn Sather. There's one of my favorite chapters in the book is about Draisaitl and McDavid playing a beer league team. I think a lot of people saw a video of this this summer, but this was from 2 summers ago and the reason I got this story is my daughter's boyfriend is on the team. My daughter's boyfriend is on the team. Okay. So my daughter texts me from the rink and goes, Luke is playing against Draisaitl and McDavid. And there's a bunch of twists. It's sort of the story is told from the goalie's perspective.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The goalie didn't show up, so they had to get the reserve goalie to come in. So there's that one too, and I'm probably missing a couple. But it's weird how that happens sometimes. I don't try to have even distribution through the Canadian teams, but for whatever reason, there's a ton of Oiler content and a ton of Canucks content in this particular book.
So before we let you go, we should talk a little bit of hockey here, buddy. We've got fires burning here in Edmonton and Oilerville. Lots going on there, but lots for you to talk about in Toronto as well. Here we are a season later, and the Leafs and the Oilers are 2 of the bigger brush fires going on. What do you make of all of your having to report on in these 2 cities and these 2 teams?
Well, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like the idea that, we could have 1 Canadian team in the playoffs or whatever. I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll probably get to 3. It might make fascinating. I think people usually say that panels and podcasts and radio is much more interesting when the team isn't doing very well. I don't know if I subscribe to that long term because we've had a lot of losing years in a lot of these cities. The only thing I would say is the way your division is, I would have more faith in the Oilers getting back on track than some of the other Canadian teams that are struggling. That's a pretty non-scientific just feeling because of the guys that have at the top of the roster. And I just can't think that the goaltending's this bad all year when you're 31st or whatever in goals against. But man, yeah, it's bad. I would just say that the parity in the Pacific and in the Atlantic, both of them feel like you could get into February and still have 5 teams within 5 or 6 points. And so I don't know if that's an optimistic way to look at it if you're an Oilers fan or if you're a Leaf fan, but I would just say that I think it has potential to be 2 of the messiest races that we've seen in a while, which is exciting, but not the best thing if you're expecting to win the division like you guys are probably.
Well, it'll make for some good panel hosting and some good podcasting, and we'll see which way it all goes. James, great job on the book, man. Really is awesome. And for anybody, as much as we're poking fun at him, anybody with a hockey fan in their family would be a great stocking stuffer, great gift for Christmas. So, well done, my friend, and thanks for joining us tonight, man.
I'm really sorry about all the derogatory things I said in our text exchange.
Well, when
I know that the sincere you is the one I see on the text and not the groveling that you just did for me. I do appreciate you having me on the. It's my first appearance in about 7 years, so thanks for having me.
That was painful for me to do. Inside my signed copy, by the way, it says, "I appreciate you agreeing to dedicate a month of your pod to promoting this. It's the proper thing to do. Love you, buddy, Jimmy." You're welcome, James.
Thanks, boys. Wow. And thank you, Struddy, for giving me one of my favorite chapters in the book. And I mean that sincerely.
I appreciate you saying, and thanks for including me. I appreciate it. You can buy me supper when I see you next to call it even.
Yeah. See you, pal. See you, all right. That is James Duthie. our main host over at TSN, our star forward. By the way, what you didn't see, Struds, I forgot to chirp him about it when we were lining up his shot. So he's got his computer in his office and he's lining up his shot. And he's like, oh, by the way, that's the key to the city over my head there. Don't know if you saw that or not. So the frame behind him was the key to the city. Then he tilts his camera a little bit to one way and points it up. He's like, some Canadian Screen Awards up there. He's like, oh, I see that little one up behind you there, Shogger. So he counts my one little trophy. He's got 6 of these same ones on the shelf that he showed me. So yeah, highly decorated, one of the great broadcasters in this country. It pains me to say. Pretty good guy, too. That was our breakdown brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. Thanks for joining us, James. Struds, let's get to Relentless Player. We're going to skip around the pod a little bit tonight. A little bit of a different format because we started with a guest. Our Relentless Player is brought to you by UCAN Youth Services, an Edmonton charity relentless in creating possibilities for local youth. Mental health drives growth and success, the key to thriving, not just surviving, with 2 in-house counselors offering free therapy. Their youth have the support they need to navigate struggles and rediscover their strength. Visit ucan.ca to donate here today. Who are we going to give the nod to tonight, Struddy?
Well, I stepped back and just looked at the season up to this point. Today was a day off. Everyone played except for the Kings and Oilers last night. So which player, and it's a little bit close to home, but which player has really kind of come out firing? I'm going to go with Kiefer Sherwood. I mean, this guy is had a really, really good start. So for those who aren't familiar with him, he plays for the Canucks. Always been a big hitter, a feisty guy, but he's got 12 goals already this year, 4 assists, so 16 points. This guy's really off to a good start. I think he's going to be a nice little asset for Vancouver to trade off. He is cooling down. He only has 3 goals in the month of November. So that kind of, if you go that backwards, that's 9 goals in October and not as many. So let's say he gets to 20, 25 goals. That's amazing. This guy's, I think he makes $1.5 million. Someone is going to pay for this guy to be on his team this year, and he'll probably get a nice little deal next summer.
I thought it was interesting that the Brain Trust comes out. They're like, hey, anybody interested in any of our UFAs? We're open for business, right? Yeah. Hey, can I interest you in a somewhat cooling off, but recently very hot Kiefer Sherwood? Like, they're trying to sell high on Kiefer Sherwood here, man. They're willing to do it. They know he's never going to be worth more than he probably is right here and now. So be interesting to see if and where they find a landing spot for him. Zuby, hop in here, buddy. Let's get our poll pushed out there to people so they can get yakking about it on the show. Our YouTube poll is brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Of course, they got lots of specials on the go at DeBoer's all the time. It's a great shop for you to go to. Really, really friendly atmosphere, all kinds of gear, all the gear you could possibly ask for. I'm definitely going to do some Christmas shopping over at DeBoer's. They always do such a great job, friendly atmosphere, and just an awesome spot. And now that the snow's falling, if you want to get a break and kind of get that golf feeling going, go see Scotty and Al and the crew over at DeBoer's. Zuby, what are we doing for a poll tonight, buddy?
Well, what we're doing actually is related to my shirt here, which I wore this morning on the Ray and Dregs podcast too, which is, of course, the WKRP Thanksgiving turkey drop. The classic moment, Arthur Carlson and Les Nessman and the gang there at WKRP. I'm really going to, the choices in the poll are really going to date me and maybe the podcast as well. They're some of our younger viewers might not have an option here that they know, but inspired by my t-shirt and American Thanksgiving, the question tonight is, which of these is your favorite movie or TV U.S. Thanksgiving moment? And I love it. We invite other people to chime in because this is a list specific and near and dear to me, and I'm sure that there are others. So the choices are Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Those aren't pillows. Friends, the one where Rachel has the turkey on her head, the WKRP turkey drop, and the fourth one is Seinfeld when Jerry accidentally pops the Woody Woodpecker balloon on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So those are the 4 choices. If you've got other ideas, other TV and movie Thanksgiving moments, go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll keep a little list of those going throughout the show as well.
Dallas Scarlett saying Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and it's not even close. Struddy, you got a favorite?
WKRP. I could have swore turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the greatest. I mean, I love plane, trains, and automobiles. So it's like you're asking me to pick my favorite kid, but that one is so good. And the whole WKRP in Cincinnati was just genius, absolutely genius.
Yeah. They did a good job. All right, one more segment before we get to Rob Brown. We're going to get to our storylines. Going to push ahead a little bit here and look to the Oilers' upcoming game on the weekend. And a reminder, check our social platforms. We will post a line that we think is tied into an interesting story over at playalberta.ca. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, you can score a $50 free bet when you make minimum $50 deposit with the code GYB50. That's code GYB50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Talking a lot about practice, Subi, and that's somewhat the inspiration for the line that you picked for Saturday's game.
Yeah, and I've been corrected by Riot's Edge. I put Rachel had the turkey on her head, and he or she is completely right. It's Monica that had the turkey on her head.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to avoid. I'm not going to avoid the. I'm sure some other people are going to come in late and recorrect that for me. But you're 100% right. I don't know why I had it in my head that it was Rachel. It is, of course, Monica. Right before Chandler professes that he is in love with her for the first time, just moments before that. The line we're looking at is it looks like, and Shagar, you guys are really going to break this down, that defense was a real focus of the practice today. So we don't know who's in net for this. They're going to give us odds still going forward, so we don't know the odds yet, but we're thinking what we saw in practice today, some of the details amped up, and going into a not super high scoring team of Seattle is that we took an under on the Kraken to score 3 goals or fewer. So under 4 goals, 3 or fewer on Saturday night. That's the line we're taking for our storyline on Saturday.
All right. Keep an eye on that. That'll get posted over on the Play Alberta app. You can check out. We got our own little spot there on the Play Alberta app. Struds, we'll dig into the details of what we saw at practice, but after giving up an 8 spot, you got to be able to hold Seattle to under 4 the next game.
Defense is an attitude. It's an attitude. It's not a tremendous skill. It's just a determination and attitude. So I believe that after that, their attitude will be, we're not going to have that happen. We're not going to give up a ton of goals next game.
I'm looking at this game, man. I'm taking a close look at this game. There are those who will say, okay, first game back after a long road trip is always going to be tough. Not read too much into that loss. Whatever. That's sitting out there for people to kind of chew on. But Struds, 1 game in a 6-day stretch, couple of days off, multiple practices, not ridiculous travel. The one thing we cannot be talking about after Saturday's game is a lackluster effort. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye, as everyone is, on what this team brings to the table on Saturday. Going to talk more about what we saw today. Rob Brown's going to join us. We'll break down. We got some practice video to show you, some line combinations to talk about, some injury updates. So we had some fun this first segment, but let's dig in hardcore on the Oilers next. This is Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse Developments. At Modern Measure, every item of clothing starts from scratch and is designed from the ground up, based on both your style preferences and current fashion trends. Their clothing is fully designed to give you the exact look you're looking for, down to the smallest details and customization. The Modern team will work with you to make sure that you not only look and feel great, but make the most of your investment. On the ground floor of Edmonton Tower downtown, Modern Measure.
Choosing to buy a home is one of the biggest financial and personal decisions you'll ever make. It's a decision that requires strategic planning, market expertise, and a trusted advisor to guide the way. The team at Body Realty with Royal LePage AR team combines deep market knowledge, forward-thinking guidance, and exceptional dedication to make the process effortless and stress-free. Where every client is treated like the only client, visit BaddyRealty.com, a real estate group like no other.
Time now for takeaways, brought to you by Chandos Construction. Chandos doesn't just hire talent, they invest in it. They're 100% employee owned, so when their people grow, the whole company grows right along with them. Ready to build something that matters? Apply now at chandos.com/apply. All right, we got the whole team ready to roll here. We got Struds, we got Zuby, and do we have Rob Brown? We have Rob Brown coming to us from parts unknown.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good, buddy. Where are you? What are you doing?
Just hanging out with my mom. Just
Nice.
on the road. Just having some fun.
Are you being held hostage somewhere?
Hey,
Yeah.
Brownie, is his Zuby? Is his phone like Brownie? Is your phone working? Can we just call you? And if we keep the video up, Zuby, we can just go over his cell phone because we're getting some pretty bad playback.
Yeah,
in our
that might
ears
be a
from
good
downstairs.
idea.
You want to give that a try?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so stay on video, Brownie, and then if you can just, I'll give you a minute to work your stuff out. Just mute everything, stay on video, and Zuby will give you a call, and we'll just grab your audio off your cell phone. Struds, in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about what we saw today at practice. Just a few news
You
and
have
notes to
reached the
start with.
voicemail box of.
He screened you. Does he know that he screened you? All right, try that again, Brownie. A couple news and notes from practice today. So Jack Roslovic was not on the ice and is questionable moving forward for Saturday's game, according to Chris Knobloch. So that was definitely notable. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was out there, looked good. He is cleared. He'll be good to go. Curtis Lazar has been cleared as well. Jake Wallman was on the ice, Struds. His status a little bit in question moving forward. Now, what I will also say is a really unfortunate event happened. I caught a little bit of it on video. Zuby got that video ready, but Kasperi Kapanen locked up with, I think it was Adam Henrique at practice, Struds, and he went down and he stayed down for a minute. Then he was limping around. Remember, this is a player that spent weeks trying to get himself ready to go. And then as the poor guy left the ice, the team was stretching, and he just snapped, right? Like, it's so frustrating trying to get back from these injuries. Zuby, you can roll a video, but this was Kapanen leaving the ice after, I guess, figuring he re-injured himself. Yeah, there it is. And you can see the sticks just go flying. Struds, I'm sure you can kind of sympathize with this, buddy. A guy fighting so hard to get back into the lineup, and then that happens.
You know, it's just about time. So you put your time in. Everyone's going to pay the price, right? Sooner or later, everyone's going to be injured. And you put your 2, 4, 6 number of weeks, whatever it is. Some guys, it's a lot longer. And the last thing you want to do is get hurt right away, like before you even get into a game. So I saw that video from you, and I'm like, oh boy, that's not good, because you usually know your body when there's a real problem. And so I hope I'm wrong, because I've seen him skate. He's been working out. But man, guys, Brownie, that getting hurt before you even come back, that's a stinger.
Well, it is, because the problem is what it tells you is you came back too soon, is what it does. If you go out there and you twinge something, you pushed it too fast, and you weren't ready. And every player, as you know, Struds, we all try to come back before we're supposed to, because we want to get back. It's hard sitting in the press box watching. And then if you're further down the depth chart, it's even harder because there's other players playing in front of you. So you want to go out there and do what you can do. And if your team's struggling, how can I be a part of this? How can I make it better? So yeah, it's a tough one, but he did not look happy leaving the ice. And I think that shows that it is not something that's going to be okay, I'm going to feel better tomorrow. This is something that's going to be a little longer.
Saw something a little interesting in the lines. Clattenburg was on the line with Nugent Hopkins and I believe Mangiapane. Now, I'm not sure if he's placeholding for Roslovic. I'm not sure. That's the one question that I don't think we got clarity on, but I was definitely interested to see that. Now, if it looks like Kapanen's not coming back, even if Roslovic does get back in, then there's going to remain a spot here depending on Kapanen. But I saw that and I wondered, Brownie, are they going to give him a look on this line? Are they going to take a player who showed energy and enthusiasm and elevate him to the third line? That would be the third line. Nuge was at center.
Well, I saw the same thing too, and my first thought is it has to be a placeholder. It just has to. It shocked me, and now deservedly, Clattenburg deserves to play after what he did last game. I mean, we all talked about it. He was the only player who was noticeable in a positive way in the last game, and he brings an energy in your bottom six. But I'm not sure an energy that gets you on the third line, as opposed to playing on the fourth line, playing 5-6 minutes. So we'll never know. If Kapanen doesn't come back and play on Saturday, we won't know what that is. But in a fair world, and life ain't fair, and neither is hockey, but in a fair world, Clattenburg deserves to play on Saturday. And now he probably will if Kapanen is hurt. But yeah, I was shocked. I was still shocked. I mean, if those are the line combinations and Kapanen's coming back in and playing on your second line with Leon, that surprised me. I'm not sure that was the right spot, but I think right now nothing's going right for the Edmonton Oilers, and Chris Knobloch is just trying to pull names out of a hat to see which will work for him.
I don't think that Clattenburg's the right wingman for Nuge. That just doesn't feel like a Nugent Hopkins kind of guy. So I think that for me, it's more about Nugent Hopkins than it is about Clattenburg. So I don't think that's the spot for him.
Brownie, I got to test something out. Tell me if you can hear this, okay?
But honestly, I love it, man.
You heard that? Okay. Sometimes when we bring people in over the phone, they can't hear our audio clips. And we're going to talk a little bit about Stuart Skinner and some stuff that he had to say today. We'll hear from a few guys here at practice as we get into our Weiss Johnson Soundbox, brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Should you need a new furnace, heat pump, hot water tank, or garage heater, Weiss Johnson's now offering 24 months, no interest, equal payments, OAC to make your purchase easier heading into the Christmas season. Their family helping your family for nearly 50 years. Visit WJJingle.com for exclusive specials. Just forgot your back, jingle lovers. Zuby, jingle.
Weiss Johnson,
All right, Stu Skinner earlier today had a number of different comments on a number of different topics. This on him and his teammates getting down to the business of just working their way through what has been a really rough go here.
It's easy. That's the easiest thing to do. Honestly, when things are tough, is pointing the finger. But for our group, we're not in the business of doing that. We're in the business of lifting each other up and trying to carry ourselves out of this thing as a team. Because we've created that culture, we've created that brotherhood in here. It's easy to point the finger. It's human nature. Sometimes you still do it, but you try your best to be aware of it and catch yourself, and I'm certainly not doing that. I need to be better for this group.
Skinner also talked about, the difficulties of being in net, right? Fans are always all over you. You're always in the spotlight, but admitting he wouldn't change a thing, obviously.
But honestly, I love it, man. Like, it's the best thing in the world being able to be a goalie. I've learned so much in so many different ways, not just on ice, but just character, being able to pull yourself out of some really tough spots, being a good teammate, even when you feel like the world's crashing down on you. It's easy to be selfish, and you learn a lot about not being selfish in this position. Again, it's not about just one guy; it's about everybody.
Struds, what do you think of those comments?
Stu Skinner is a really good guy. And he has learned a lot. We've said this before. He wasn't supposed to be the starting goaltender. It's supposed to be Jack Campbell still. And here he is. He was pushed into a situation where he's the starting goaltender, and he's put up a hell of a fight. He's had some great moments, and there's some where he'd like to be more stable. But I think through it all, he's weathered it well with his personality. He's an incredible guy when you hear him talk and the way it's all that kind of goes. So I believe him. I believe he thinks he's grown as a person and all that, because he's been through a lot of great times and some he'd like to have back, I'm sure, Brownie.
Yeah, I mean, he's going through stuff that I don't know if there's any other player on the team goes through, simply because of him being a hometown boy. We all have had struggles in our career. There's very few players that go through their entire career that they don't have a downtime. But if for me, for example, I'm in Pittsburgh or Chicago, if I have a downtime and the reporters write something bad about me, I didn't have social media when I played, but if there's social media, people back home don't read it. But when you're in the same town as all your friends and all your family, and the stuff that's being said about Skinner, both socially, on media, everything. The Oilers, they could win a game 9-4, but they still are complaining about the 4 goals Skinner gave up. It's tough. And for him to be able to weather that, and not only weather it for him personally, but weather it for his family as well, it's a situation that no other player on that team deals with. There may come a point, if things don't go right, where it's better and healthier for Skinner to move on for both the team and the player. But I give him credit. He stands up in front of everyone every day and says, all right, I got to be better. Here's what I got to improve on. He takes it. So I don't know if Skinner is the answer for the Edmonton Oilers, but I give him credit. He wants to be. And that is it's not an easy situation for him, but he's continuing to take it head on. So yes, I agree with Struds. It's good for him. He's a good person that's trying to make the best of a situation that has not gone well so far this year.
Going to deal with this other situation head on. VGA Punk 29 says, Shogger, thoughts on Matheson's question during Stu's scrum today? I thought it came across as disrespectful, but would like to know your thoughts. Yeah, there's some tough content you got to go through with a guy like Stuart Skinner at a moment like this, because, I mean, I spent the day yesterday talking on multiple shows about the potential for trades to happen. And obviously post-game we talked about that. So it's the elephant in the room and it's hanging out there. And as reporters, sometimes you got to ask difficult questions, and sometimes they come out a little funny. Sometimes you can be a little bit ham-handed. I've had it happen to me. It's not the way that I would have asked the question. I think maybe it got away from Matty a little bit in the way that he phrased it. But sometimes it's awkward and a little difficult to figure out how to ask about topics like that. And sometimes that happens. So Matty's been around a long time. That happens sometimes, not the way I would have asked it. That's the way that I will put that. And I respect Jim a lot. So, but I thought Skinner handled it really well because the questions were very on, like, man, oh man, they were tough, scathing questions. And Skinner kind of didn't really flinch, Struds. I don't know if you saw the whole interview or not, but he just handled it all really well and put it all in proper perspective and was cordial, didn't get defensive, didn't fight back. I thought he handled it with a lot of class.
In my experience dealing with the media, now I was never a high-profile player as Stu was, for sure. But if you handle them with respect and you answer the questions, it dies there. Right? Now, they're going to write their story, and that's the job. That's the job of the media. But if you're combative or fighting, confrontational, I find it gets escalated, and it gets also escalated through social media, especially now. So I think Stu has handled it well the whole time. I give the guy 1,000% credit because that has not been easy.
No, you're right. I mean, I didn't hear the question, but I know that as a player, you want respect me, I'll respect you. Ask me about the game. Be honest with your assessment, but don't be a jerk. And there are some that are jerks. Some reporters, some media are jerks, and they just want to write the negative stuff. And players don't respect that. But when if you say if I was awful and you say it was awful in the paper, I'm not going to argue with you. But let's keep it just as an honest assessment on my game and don't take it further than that. And Shogger, you're in the dressing rooms. You know which reporters, which media are respected by the players, and you know the ones that the players don't want to talk to. It's pretty obvious. They make sure that you know that as a player, and you've got the respect. I know that you do because I've heard the players talk to you, but not everyone has that, and the players are very, very aware of which reporters they can talk to and which ones they can be honest to and which ones they have to be very careful about.
For sure. And again, to be clear, Matty's been around a long time. He's been doing this a long time. It was kind of some difficult territory to go over. And, hey, might have just come out a little bit funny. But, again, Skinner always steps up, always answers the questions. And one thing, too, like Stuart Skinner talks on game days. People need to understand, it's kind of rampant through the league where you get this generation of starting goalies that feel like they don't need to talk on game days. Drives me a little nuts, as people might know with my history. I've gotten a little chirpy about it on Twitter a few times. But Stuart Skinner steps up, man, every day, win, lose, whatever. Every time we need him, he steps up, and that's certainly appreciated. Okay, let's move into our core adjustment, shall we? We've got to look a little bit at what they're doing at practice. That's brought to you by HSE Core Services, from creating and managing safety programs to audits and those required contractor registries. HSE Core keeps your business compliant so you can keep working. Visit www.hsecor.com. That's hsecor.com for more information. So much whiteboard time early on in practice today, Struds. There was a stretch, probably, I'm not lying, 3 to 4 minutes of players sitting at the whiteboard with multiple coaches coming and taking their turns. Then they did some progression style drills, right? That's part of why they're at the board for so long, because it's kind of 2 or 3 progressions in a drill. But a lot of focus on some D-zone stuff, some backtracking stuff, Struds. And I did grab this one video, and I just want you to maybe describe what you're seeing here, Struds, with this back-checking drill. The thing that really stands out to me, they blew this down once because the back-checking forwards did not come back far enough between the hash marks. And if you're listening in podcast form, apologies, this won't make as much sense to you. But Struds, walk us through what you're seeing and focus on those back-checking forwards and where they end up.
So I saw this video early, so right away I know this is stuff that Brownie's talked about. Brownie's talked about the way that you back check. So pick it up, and then they bring it up the ice, and it's kind of like just a 2-on-2, but 2 new guys jump in, and their job is to come back and stop right on the hash marks. Why do you do that? Because oftentimes forwards over back check, and the puck's given to the guys in those hash marks areas where there's nobody, and then there's a tap in. So what they're trying to do is trying to get the forwards to back check and stop right at the hash marks, Brownie, 2 D-men in front, and then the center comes in. You're protecting in front of your net. So very simple, but it's a reminder. It's like they know this before. They knew this before. This is a reminder. And this is when I talk about practice. You have to feel it. You have to get on it in practice to move it into games.
Well, to me, we used to call it you back check to the house. And the house is exactly where you and Charlie were talking about, between the 2 hash marks, because that's where goals are scored. I mean, last game, for a great example, was the 3-on-3 when Ekholm was playing the guy with the puck who was on the boards, and McDavid came all the way across towards that man as well. The high guy was Jamie Benn, and he was between the hash marks. And as soon as McDavid left that spot and went to help Ekholm, that's where the puck went to. That's the danger area. Wyatt Johnson on the boards with the puck, not dangerous. He's not scoring from there. If he scores from there, that's your goalie's fault. So the Oilers come back to the house, and sometimes there's not even a guy there, but that's where the puck is eventually going to come, and you protect that spot. And I think, and I know that you guys are now doing a lot of the stats, and it talks about inner slot shots and things like that. And the Oilers are getting eaten up on that because they're drifting. Players are drifting towards the boards, drifting behind the net, and they're leaving the slot open. Most dangerous part of the ice. So, yes, I think that's a reminder, but it's something that they shouldn't need reminded of, because this is something you've learned at age. I mean, Strud, you coach U13, U15, U18. This is stuff you always talk about. You come back to the house, and that's what they're doing. When you go in between the hash marks, that's the house. That's the area you got to protect.
Yeah, so many games we've been focused on that area. We've been talking about that coverage in front, and guys just not really feeling like they don't have the right people there paying attention to the right things. And so a drill today to illustrate that. Zuby, did I send that second video? I can't remember if I sent it to you or not.
No, I have a second
drill?
one of them running through another drill.
Yeah, sounds good. Struddy, take us through this one. This one, to me, I don't know, you're the expert. I'll let you say, but this feels to me, it's just all about angles, just making sure you're taking the right angles on guys. And run us through this, Struds.
So you can see the offensive player gets it, and 2 Oiler players, a forward and a D, come over and try to snuff him out. Then those 2 players go continue, and now 2 people will go in and try to snuff him out. So what you're trying to do, this is defending the rush, and trying to, as you said, use the right angle, but defend the rush and snuff that rush out and get him to the wall. The worst thing you want to happen as a D-man is the guy come down the middle of the ice. What they're trying to do here is get the forwards to feel and remember what it's like to angle someone, to put him into the wall so the D-man can stand up, and now you get the puck and you transition it quickly over and you're gone.
Well, this goes straight to what we talk about with goaltending, is predictability. And as a defenseman, as you're the defenseman back there, the predictability, if say Connor McDavid's coming back and he's pushing that guy to the boards, you as a defenseman know, okay, he's got the angle, now I can step him up because I know where he's going to, because he's got nowhere to go. But if he's allowed to get into the middle of the ice, now you're screwed. And then also another thing when you can add to that is if you don't have the right angle, you don't continue to chase. Then you turn your angle, Strud, and you would know this too, as well as you go to the post. And you don't chase, because now you're chasing the whole way. You're never going to catch him. Now you go to the post. So your first option is push him to the boards, and there's predictability. I've got him. But if, for example, a McDavid or someone with a ton of speed, if you know you can't catch him, don't continue to chase. Now you go to the close post, And now it's a race to the post. And now you're forcing him to come through you because you have a shorter angle to get there. So those are things that all of these players know, but sometimes I guess, and we've seen as of late, sometimes you forget them. And that's why practice is important. Practice is what they have this week, and they're working on these things.
So another practice tomorrow before they fly, and then a 2:00 game in Seattle on Saturday. So Struds, with these back-to-back days of practice and a little bit of rest here, what do you expect to see? Like, what will you be looking for as a direct result of this breathing room that they've had here?
Structure, defensively, whether it's angling like we've just seen on the rush, backtracking, or the way they play in their own end. The structure needs to be better. They'll be fresh. They'll have reviewed it, both on and off the ice. They'll have talked about it. They'll have thought about it especially after the beating at the hands of the Stars. So defensive structure, Brownie, is what I'd be looking for.
Well, and it's funny because we listened to the players after the game last game, and that's what they talked about is they look like they don't know what they're doing. They were disconnected. And this is something that's been a storyline all season long. Right from the beginning, Connor and Leon came out disconnected was the word they kept using. So to me, the biggest difference between this year and the last 2 years is the Oilers defensively. They are not assertive at all because they seem hesitant, because they seem confused. So maybe a couple of days of practice as you go with Struds that'll give them the confidence to have the structure defensively, because what we've seen over the first 25 games is nowhere close to what they're capable of. So structure, to me, I agree. Defensive zone has got to be the biggest improvement the Oilers need to make.
David Tan says, it amazes me how bad the defensive play is on this team when they literally practice every time against two of the best players in the world, except recently with zero practice time. Interesting point from David. What would you say about that, Struds, that the opportunity to practice against those guys, and I watch these practices, I'm here to tell you, they go hard. McDavid and Draisaitl go hard at these practices, Struds. That should get those D-men ready for what the other teams are throwing at them.
Well, that's fair, except they haven't practiced in 2 weeks. I think the areas of the game I'm talking about, I believe most of the stuff they do is with pace and tempo up and down the ice, which is important. But do they ever do 3-on-3 below the tops of the circles? And the Oilers have struggled. Do they ever do 3-on-3 below the tops of circles with 2-point shooters? So they have to box out and grab sticks. I don't think so. So I understand what you're saying. And yes, that does help build the confidence of one-on-ones and playing fast and all that. But the areas I see they're struggling on, it doesn't make a difference. It could be an all-star team. If you don't practice in those areas, you don't get those reps, you don't improve in those areas.
And one of the problems with the practicing of the 3-on-3 or the 5-on-5 down low is one of the problems where the Oilers get is when the puck goes back to the point and the shots on net, boxing out. That's a hard one to practice because you don't want Bouchard shooting in practice. You don't want, because you don't want the injuries that could come from it. So you don't ever get the true guys going as hard as they want, because we've seen the slot chances and the number of times guys in the blue paint are left alone who aren't covered. That, to me, is the biggest issue with the Edmonton Oilers right now, and that's a hard one for them to really do in practice because you're fearful. You're fearful of guys getting hurt with shots from the point.
Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Matthias Ekholm on some much-needed practice time.
Been a little bit of time where we haven't loved our game. I think it's great to get some practice time in and to actually have conversations too and talk about stuff that different guys are seeing in different positions, whether it's our goalies, our D, or our forwards, because everybody's got a different opinion or a different view of things, why they haven't been working for us.
And Chris Knobloch.
It's difficult because you want your players obviously playing with their instincts and playing freely and not giving them too much. But if there is something that we need to change and alter, it's going to make it change, then we do it. But right now, I think it's all about making tweaks rather than blowing something up and changing something up completely.
All right, time for us to start crunching some numbers, courtesy of our friends over at McDonald's. To the ones who always ask for extra pickles, this one is for you. The Triple Pickle McCrispy, made with 100% Canadian raised seasoned chicken, topped with shredded lettuce, crispy fried pickles, classic tangy pickles, savory dill pickle sauce, and served onto a soft potato bun for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants across Canada and, of course, here in the Edmonton area as well. So these numbers, courtesy Sport Logic, I'm going to list a few of these off, and you guys tell me which ones raise the most alarm bells in your head. So these are all situations. Goals against, from Sport Logic, 31st. Expected goals against, 29th. Slot shots against, 28th. Inner slot shots, 23rd. Now, these are some from before the Dallas game. Rush chances, 32nd in the league in rush chances against. And high danger chances, they were 31st in the league. Struds, these numbers paint a picture of a team not just that has taken a step back defensively, but has fallen off a cliff defensively. So what worries you in that mess?
Well, can I call the whole thing bothers me? Like, I'm a defense first kind of guy. And I'm going to challenge Chris Knobloch. Like, I understand he says you want your guys playing flow and free, or free and flowing or whatever. Defensively, there's a way to do it. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. Right now, they're not doing it the right way. And the numbers back it up. You can look at the numbers, you can watch the games, you can see the reaction of fans. Any of those things tell us the truth. They're not playing well enough defensively. So, I mean, God, you're asking me to pick one? I guess the one that trumps them all is the goals against. You're 31st in the league. It's incredible to think of where they were defensively last year and the pride they took in being a good defensive team. This year, they're not there, Brownie. And that, I think, is really, really troubling.
Well, you're right with all of them because they're all bad. But to me, it's the expected goals against, because a lot of fans have been out there thinking this is all a goaltending problem. That, you know what, you get a new goaltender, everything is better. But they're 29th in expected goals against. So that tells you that if the goaltender played exactly like he's supposed to, they would still be 29th in the National Hockey League. So it's, to me, that's the biggest one. And that's why when there's a lot of talk about Stuart Skinner and going out and getting a Binnington or a Jari or a Saros or whoever you want. If you say it's a goalie problem, you're letting the rest of the team off the hook. This team has not played well defensively from top to bottom. There's not a single player on this team you can say, okay, defensively, he's done a good job, but it's everyone else. Everyone has struggled defensively. They're not getting the saves, but that's just part of the problem. So to me, that one, the expected goals against, is the biggest one that jumps out at me.
Yeah, I think that's a big one too. And just the quality of the shots, the quality of the opportunities they're giving up, the quality off the rush that they're giving up. Just a lot of things pointing to details that have to get cleaned up. It'll be fascinating to see what a couple of days of practice does for this group in Seattle on the weekend. All right, quick break. When we come back, Brownie Points, Struddy's World. Ask us anything as well. Make sure you get your comments in here on the live stream. And Zuby will be grabbing the best of them, and we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. This has Got Your Back, presented by Timber House Developments. We'll be right back.
Why would you? Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why put in wood fences? Maintenance-free vinyl fence from DLR is backed by a lifetime warranty and will save you time. Weekends are for playing, not painting. Go vinyl at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Riverside Motorsports is your ultimate multi-brand dealer. With a massive lineup of motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, snow bikes, e-bikes, and snowmobiles, all under one roof. With Alberta's best selection, a huge parts and accessories inventory, and a fully certified service department, Riverside has everything you need to ride. Family-owned and serving Edmonton for over 55 years, see what they have to offer in-store just off St. Albert Trail or online at riversidemotorsports.com.
Time out for Brownie Points, brought to you by Alberta's Ram dealers. Get 10 years of built-in confidence. It's your Alberta Ram dealer with Canada's best full-size truck limited powertrain warranty. How about this? Every new 2026 Ram truck comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Make sure you go check out this award-winning truck. See your Ram dealer today. Brownie.
Well, this is kind of off the top of my head. Memory's not a strength of mine because all of my Brownie Points are right now on my phone that is stuck to my ear. So I'm guessing on these ones, but I've got 210 Brownie Points to Dylan Cease, who just signed with the Toronto Blue Jays for $210 million. I do not know a whole lot about this pitcher. He's a starting pitcher. All I can tell you, if Dylan Cease can win the Blue Jays one more game in the playoffs, it is well worth the $210 million that was spent on him. I got -6 brownie points to the schlephawk of the Edmonton Oilers, poor Kapanen, who today re-injured himself. And we saw the video, and I saw, as Strud said, that did not look good. Kapanen, to me, is a very, very useful part of the Edmonton Oilers bottom six. He plays with a physicality that we lack at times. He's just getting ready to come back into the lineup, and he hurts himself. Not only did he hurt himself, he hurt $4,000 worth of Edmonton Oilers hockey sticks as he was leaving the ice as well. I've got 10 brownie points. 10 brownie points to the best team in the National Hockey League. If you want to aspire to be a different team, aspire to be the Colorado Avalanche. They are the best offensive team in the league. They are the best defensive team in the league. They've won 10 straight, and they've also had 3 straight shutouts. So right now, if you want to look at who the cream of the crop is in the National Hockey League, it's easy. It's the Colorado Avalanche. I got 10 brownie points to my good friend, Jason Strudwick. I was unfortunately on the air the other day, and I could not hear you between periods, but I saw you on periods. And you have been telling us, and on this show, and everyone that listens, time and time again, that you are sexy. I watched you on the show, on the panel. I got to admit, you are a 10. You were fantastic. You look good. Don't know if a single thing you said was worth listening to, but you looked good while you were saying it. So I got 10 brownie points to Jason Strudwick. And the final one, normally I do 5 brownie points, and I've only got 4 here. And I feel guilty because Rishaug is deserved of more than I have given. So I've got to be honest, I've got some brownie points in my back pocket, and I'm going to give 100 because this podcast isn't easy. It's not easy doing this podcast, dealing with the egos that we have in this group. So I have pulled out 100 brownie points because this is the hard work, the dedication. This podcast is cool. It's fun. I love doing it. People enjoy it. We have great ratings. So I am giving 100, and this 100 brownie points now allows Rishaug to be in first place going into December. So 100 brownie points to Randine Rishaug for being the brains in this operation. So this is to you, Randine.
Yes, Randine.
And those tonight are my brownie points.
Well done. You nailed it today. You absolutely nailed it. And she does everything, really. I mean, I guess Schauger talks. You and I talk, look good. Really, that's about it. So Randine is the whole option. She's the wizard behind the curtain. Wizardress. You're muted, Big Cat. Better call Randine.
He's muted. So that's exactly it. Get Randine to open you up.
Give him 10 and tease me like that. Like, what was that?
That was brilliant that you were muted for that part, because it looked like the first thing you said started with an F.
I knew I was muted. That's terrible, Brownie. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's not fair. What are the standings even at? I'm going to be so far behind. And now I got to catch Randine.
I got to be honest with you, you're not catching Randine. You're not catching her.
No chance.
She's going to be unbearable.
Worry about December, Schauger. Randine just ran away with November here at the last second. So just get your best stuff for Brownie going for December.
That's brutal. Quaddy says -1 for being muted. Taken away.
Just lost the brownie point.
All right. That was brownie points. Let's hear Struddy's World. Roll the animation, Zuby. It's brutal. Brutal.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. Gotta look good.
Really is Struddy's World. DLR wants to know, why would you do that, Brownie? That was some BS. Struddy's World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Alberta's leading supplier of vinyl products, offering premium materials for fences. Whether you're looking for a professional contractor or planning to tackle the project yourself, they've got the resources and expertise to help. Canadian owned and operated, locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Check them out online, dlrvinylproducts.ca. Oh, we got 2 Jason Strudwicks.
Double.
That's one too many Jason Strudwicks.
Too much
real
answer.
trouble.
Do it.
All right. So, when I do the panel with Gene, we kind of sit up in an area where there's a coffee machine. And I always get a hot chocolate after the first intermission. So it's one of those things you have to plug it in, then close the lid, push the button, and it works. I've used it. I'm not a genius, but I know how to use this thing. So I'm waiting in line because there's a lineup. There's now I get in front, there's 3 or 4 people behind me. And I do what I'm supposed to do. I've done it, many times, push the button, and something happens and it's not working. So I have to I pull it out open and I'm trying to look like I'm all cool, but now I'm starting to sweat because I don't like to, when I'm mess something up. I think I've broken it. The lady behind me, she's like, can I help you out? I'm like, yeah, I think something's wrong with this. Well, did she break it? Did you break it? I said, I didn't break it. Something's wrong. So she's like, did you break it? I'm like, well, I didn't break it, but something's wrong. So we're going through this circle. But anyways, long story short, after about 5 minutes, I'm like, I got to go do the panel. So I walk away and there's 5-6 people online. So I'm trying to pretend it never happened. Well, I can see the guy behind the bar. He's pointing at me and kind of like, hey, I think Strudwick broke the machine. So now there's a rumor going on when I'm trying to do the panel beside Bob and Gene that there's a broken coffee machine. So now I have to go out there and defend myself before the period starts and saying it didn't break. It was broken before I got there. This whole thing. So I try to relax. He's like, don't worry, I'll get you a coffee from somewhere else or hot chocolate. So he goes to another place and bring me a hot chocolate. Meanwhile, I look back, they're still trying to fix the coffee machine I didn't break, but was there. So it's I'm unsettled now because everyone's talking about, there's a rumor going around that Strudwick broke the machine, which I didn't. It was broken already. So anyways, I finally relaxed and we get into the second period and the lady was trying to help me fix it, brought her son to get a picture. So she goes to get the picture and she takes it. Her son's beside me and said, hey, tell your mom she broke the coffee machine. Okay, see you later. So he leaves. So 2 minutes later, she comes back. She's like, I didn't break the coffee machine. Everyone knows it was you. So there's a big thing going around. I may have broken the coffee machine and make a long story short, I told him to email Got Your Back and we'll replace it, Shagar, if there is a problem.
Oh.
So thank you. But it was thoughtful. But the moral of the story is I may have broken the coffee machine. I didn't break it. And I tried to accuse of this other lady and she wasn't happy about it. So there's a bit of a thing up there.
Just take responsibility. Just take responsibility for your mistakes, Struds. You don't got to come on here to pull the veil over everyone's eyes. You don't have to. Just take responsibility for your mistakes. It's freeing when you do.
But I didn't do anything wrong. I've done it 1,000 times. Put the lid, close it, push the button. How much, I'm not changing its oil. It's pretty straightforward.
But the thing is, Struds, we've all seen your hands when you played hockey. So there is the odd chance that maybe your hands were a little off that day. You pushed the button too hard, kind of like your passes were 4 inches or 5 inches off the ice as it hit people in the ankles. Maybe it happened. I'm not saying I wasn't there, but I'm with Shagar. Take responsibility.
So my biggest thing is now I'm going to go back there. Well, I may not get invited back by Gene because he'll have heard the rumors about me breaking this coffee machine. But if I have to go back, there may be some of the same guests, like the same fans, but the same people that work there will see me. And so now I have to go maybe to somewhere else to get the hot chocolate I so desperately enjoy during the second intermission or second period.
Kevin Carius had a hot chocolate up in the press box too. I said, what are you, 7? Like, what are you drinking? It was a hot chocolate, like a full hot chocolate he had during the game.
It's so good, man. It's just, especially during the second period, just kind of warms you up, right? I don't know. I really enjoy it.
Did we lose Brownie? Brownie, you still got us? We lost him. You know what? Serves him right. No, I don't want him back. He's out, Zuby. I'm making the call. I'm punting him from the show, and you tell him that's karma.
He can't hear this. Yeah.
No,
we don't
We're
want
not calling you. You're out. You're out.
Bye-bye. Let me guess.
Bye-bye.
Did I break your phone too, Brownie?
I don't let him back on. Zuby, I forbid it. I forbid it.
He just came back to say bye. He just came back to say goodbye.
Beat it, Brownie. You're done. Beat it. Take your brownie points and go. Yeah, bye.
Bye, buddy.
Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Why would you, Brownie? Why would you do that to me? Why would you? All right, when we come back, we'll take a couple laps around the league and ask us anything as well. Get your questions in, and Zuby will fire them at us. So still lots of content ahead here on Got Your Back. An off-night pod. Love it. Presented by Timberhouse. For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Not sure if you've got the Stranger Things buzz in your house that I'm living with in mine, but this theme song right here got that 80s Stranger Things vibe to it. Matt Blom says, we need a third show, Zuby's Movies. I'd be all over that. Any interest, Zuby?
Well, I told him, though, I don't know what I'm bringing to the table. It would just be like the Chris Farley show. I'd just be like, hey, remember when so-and-so yada yada happened in that 80s movie? And then I'd be like, yeah, that was awesome. Like,
I would love to do a show reviewing movies. I mean, nobody would care what I think about movie Struds, but I love movies that much, and I love talking about movies. I drive my family nuts because I'm always wanting to dig in and analyze and really talk about movies. Are you interested in maybe some off-night movie review pods, Struds?
What's the second option? Is there another option we can...
There's the paint drying show, Struddy.
All right, enough said. Let's take a couple of laps, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports, family owned and operated, serving Edmonton and area for over 55 years, featuring top brands and delivering the best selection in Alberta. A huge inventory of parts and accessories, and recognized as the #1 KTM dealership in the country. Check them out at www.riversidemotorsports.com. Weird, Struds. I mean, it is what it is. It's American Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all our good friends south of the border, but no games in the NHL today.
Yeah, and so not a lot of news either, right? When you look at the taking a lap situation, pretty quiet, and I think that's intentional. Difficult to compete on Thanksgiving with all that's going on, including the NFL. So, couple news and notes, small ones. So, Brady Tkachuk looks like he'll make his return for the Ottawa Senators tomorrow. Started off, I think they were 1-2 when he came, and so when he left the team for injury, and then they've got a really nice run. I think they're like 10-5-1, somewhere around there. So they've got a really nice run. So the nice thing is they're playing well as a group, and now they're reinserting their captain, a really important player for them.
Yeah.
Which, if they keep the pace, could really set them up nicely for this middling stretch, I guess, of the season.
What do you think about him and his brother doing a podcast in season here together? I mean, the model exists already and it works.
Yeah. It's unique for hockey. But it's not for other sports. You see a lot of basketball players do it. Football, I mean, Travis Kelce and his brother. I mean, they do it now different because football is once a week. This is every day. Yeah. So I wonder I know they do it on Wednesdays. How do they make
sure? How do you do that?
Yeah. So, but you know what? I'm up for anything that helps grow hockey. And I think that players showing off their personalities helps grow the sport. So I think it's huge. I think it's really positive, but it's not the same as hockey. But basketball players do it. They have a lot of games too.
What else we got, buddy?
Next up, his brother skated. The other Tkachuk, the one that people don't like. Well, I'm not sure they were like Brady either, but the one in Florida, he skated, but they said this doesn't mean he's close to coming back. It's just he's still a ways away, but he skated. So that's positive for the Florida Panthers.
With an eye on the Olympics? Did you get I mean, the timeline is to get. How do you feel if you're Florida? I mean, we saw what the Four Nations did to him last year. They still won, so it worked. But
you trust your players. You give them that opportunity. You give them an opportunity. He's been a really good Panther. He's left everything on the table, so you go for it. Finally, a player has a new home. Sammy Blais, formerly with the Toronto Maple Leafs, was picked up on waivers by the Canadiens. This is the player I used to really like. Blazers energy,
when he was in St. Louis, eh?
Yeah, really liked him there. And the Rangers, it didn't seem to quite go right. And then Toronto, like he's kind of been banging around a bit. But I used to really, really like this guy. Now he's a waiver claim. So maybe get him going again with some opportunity in Montreal with so much injuries they have there.
6'2", 210, skates well, and isn't afraid to throw body checks. I remember him with the St. Louis Blues thinking, man, like there's a good skill set here. But he's had trouble making a go of it. His career high 9 goals, looks like. But 9 goals with the Blues in 22, 23, and 20 points that year as well. But has only scored, since that season, 2 goals in the National Hockey League since the 22-23 season. That was taking a couple of laps, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports. Okay, so there's no games on the schedule tonight, but for our scoreboard, we're going to change it to our stats board instead. We're going to take a look at the Edmonton Oilers and their stats pack, what their players are doing right now. And the question is, what are the areas of concern, Struddy? And it'll be brought to you by The Bridge Fit. If you've been putting off treatment, now's the time to book. Make the most of your coverage before it renews in 2026. Year-end availability is filling up fast across all their locations. So they got clinics at Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Lethbridge, and opening soon in St. Albert. The Bridge provides accessible team-based care across Alberta. Learn more at thebridge.fit. Struds, taking a look at the Oilers' individual stats, the basic stats here. I asked you, when you look at that, when you peruse all of that, what stands out to you and kind of has the alarm bell going a little?
People don't love plus minus, but I think it gives you a sense of where everything's at. And my eyes are drawn directly to Brett Kulak, who's minus 11 right now.
Okay.
On there. And I went and looked at it. He's actually been on for 11 goals for and 24 goals against at 5-on-5. That's a big chunk. And while I was on there, my eyes also took a look at Regula. Regula has been on for 10 goals against, I think, and 0 goals for. He hasn't been on for 1 goal that the Oilers scored. That is pretty shocking, actually. When you think
hasn't been the same since Evander Kane hit him. Like, he hasn't.
Okay, and that's fair. Like, and I'm not going to challenge you on that. I mean, you want to be on for the odd goal for, right? And he hasn't been on for 1. 11 games, 0 goals for has he been on for. So those two are drawing my eyes for sure. What about you? Is there one that?
Yeah, when you went to the plus minus, I thought you were going to do the same one that I had, but I got Andrew Mangiapane, -18. Minus 18 in 14 minutes and 32 seconds average time on ice per game.
Yeah.
Like, yikes, buddy. Yikes.
Yeah. So 5-on-5, he's been on for 10 goals for and 26 against 5-on-5.
That's great.
26 goals against. That's pretty heavy. Not always his fault. And again, you can't always say that, he's responsible for every single one, but there's something there, right? Something's going on there.
What do you got McDavid at? I mean, he's -6 here in his plus minus, right? He's got 10 goals, 24 assists, 34 points, 1.36 points per game. But what are his 5-on-5 numbers, goals for and against?
Yeah, 20, 24 against. Sorry, 20 goals for, 24 goals against.
So he's
Leon's
on the wrong side of that ledger.
Yeah, Leon's 24, 17. It's funny. All the Roslovic, Pods, and Dryer are all pods. They're all above. They're all above water.
Yeah. What do you got on Evan Bouchard there?
Bush, I think Bush is above water now too, and he wasn't. I just looked at it. I just got to click over. I want to say he's something like 2 or 3 above water here. I just got to click over to them because I just keep him. He's 21-20. Goals 4 goals again. So he's above water,
around even.
He wasn't. He's been on a good heater this month to get up there.
And you have Nurse there too?
Suggests luck. Yeah, he's heater. I don't want to say heater because that suggests it's luck. He's been playing well. Donald Nurse, 17 goals for, 23 against.
All right. Yeah, well, when you're this bad defensively, there's going to be some ugly stats lines. And so for our scoreboard tonight, we take a look at some of the ones that are concerning. We'll see, man. The team about to play the Seattle Kraken on the weekend, and they've got 5 games at home. Minnesota Wild, Seattle Kraken, Winnipeg Jets, Buffalo Sabres, so they got a chance to crack back on, and then the Red Wings. Not exactly a crazy gauntlet here they got to run at home, Struds. Like, should be able to grab a few of these games based on the competition.
And they need to, right? They need to just get that confidence. I think there's a bit of confidence here as well. But, people are like, oh, the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets have won 3 of their last 10 games. They don't have their starting goaltender.
Yeah.
That is a game you have to grab. Now, there's other parts of the game are good, but 3-10, it's there. So I would expect
Wild to be tough.
Well, Wild to be tough. Wild started off poorly. Now they're finding their Stella's got a groove back for sure. But the Oilers are considered by many, including themselves, to be a cup to contender. So there should be no one you're intimidated by. That being said, this group needs to get some confidence. And it starts Saturday. I hope it's a 1-0 win. I really do. I hope they were coming on doing a post-game pod, and I'm spouting off about how great defensively they played. That's what I'd love for this group.
Riot's Edge says, can the everyday person pull these stats? Yes, you can, Riot's Edge. Lots of different sites have them. One of the ones we often use is called Natural Stat Trick. And you can click on there and get team stats. You can click whether you want even strength, 5-on-5, 5-on-4, a whole bunch of sortables on there. So if you haven't ever taken a look at Natural Stat Trick, and you hear people talking about fancy stats, they got all the expected goals for and against and percentages and such. It's a mainstay as far as being a great resource for people to grab these kinds of numbers. All right, Zuby, hop in here, buddy. Let's wrap up our De Boer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. Got a nice compliment on the zip up tonight.
You did,
that
and
I'm sporting.
That was from Todd Gack, I think, and I agree.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Gackmeister. This is actually from De Boer's. I've got some De Boer's gear on as we speak right now.
And I was going to say, you said anyone can pull those stats, but not everyone can do the addition and subtraction that Struddy did all by himself to get the.
Yes, I would struggle with that in real time.
The poll. I'm excited. We got some big questions to talk about tonight and ask us anything. The poll, which of these is your favorite movie or TV U.S. Thanksgiving moment? The WKRP turkey drop winning this one at 38% of the vote. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Those aren't pillows. 28%. Friends, Monica, not Rachel, Monica wearing the turkey on her head, 21%. And Seinfeld popping Woody Woodpecker in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade garnered 13% of the vote. A couple of other... It was noted that there were a couple of really good Friends Thanksgiving episodes. Rachel with the English trifle, she made the dessert that had the meat in it because the pages of the magazine that she was making it from got stuck together. She was making and it had a shepherd's pie mixed into it as well. The ingredients for a shepherd's pie, or Chandler in the box. Apparently that was a thing. I don't recall, but Allison, I trust her. She says that was a Thanksgiving episode as well. And a couple of people saying apparently there's a good Mr. Bean Thanksgiving episode, which is curious because, of course, he's not American. So I guess I'll have to check that one out. Thanks
Great
for participating.
question tonight, by the way.
In the poll.
Really good question. I left the question to you tonight and you killed it.
Oh, good. That was fun.
All right, buddy. What do we got?
We're getting into Ask Us Anything, presented by...
Oh, yeah. I guess I got to do the read then, right? Look at me. I'm in such a rush. Ask Us Anything. BJ Electric Supplies presents Ask Us Anything. Founded in 1976, they are a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Great local company. Visit bjelectric.ca. Now, what do you got, Zuby?
Okay, I'm going to do one sort of little one that I know you want to have not a super long show, but man, there's a couple of really good questions tonight.
That's
about practice, about the practice. Quaddy says, I wish they would practice board battles because they are god-awful at coming out on the right end of those. What else didn't we see from you, Shogger, today? Did they practice board battles? Did they practice tight area stuff? Is there any of that, or is that or battle drills, or is that more difficult to get?
Yeah, I wouldn't say
going
that there was. I wouldn't say there was no, like, when you watch a practice and a coach is trying to send a message about a certain battle level needing to rise when he's trying to send a signal to his team, you notice. And I would say I didn't notice that. There were more line rushes and flow drills and, back checking drills and, structure type stuff. So no, I would say fundamentally battles were not something that we're focused on today, Struds.
Yeah, and I would disagree with that choice. Not by you, but by the coach. I think you need to revisit what it feels like to be competitive in those battles and win some and lose some. So, I mean, I sound old school, but it's still, nothing's really changed. Like, I love the 3-on-3 below the tops of the circles, defending harder. And there's 22 of you out there. You're not going every single shift. It's a reminder. That's what I believe was missing from a practice like today.
Okay, this is a big picture question, and I love this because I had thought about this many, many times. And Blommer and Polly were talking about it. So Blom says, let's ask the panel, what was your interpretation of Connor McDavid's quote after they lost last year? We keep doing the same thing over and over, banging our heads against a wall and expecting a different result. What do you, what specifically do you think he was talking about there, Shogger?
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting at the time. I remember that one. I don't know. Like, I don't think it was a shot at systems. I don't think, Struddy, that it was like, we didn't come up with any new ideas to try and beat this team because our coaching staff didn't give us any. I mean, some people might want to take it down that path. I think as players, they were just over and over and over again, Struds. They were having trouble getting the puck to the middle of the ice. They were having trouble with things that they're normally pretty good at. And it was frustration over and over and over again for them. But really good question, but I'm not sure, Struds. What did you take of it?
No, I'm glad you were asked first, because I've actually thought about this quote before when I'm have a quiet moment in my day. It's not in Connor's history to send messages to a coach or the management through the media, right? Now, Shugger, you're around him way more than I am. Am I wrong in that? Have you ever felt that he's been like, oh, by the way, my podcast master is not doing this right? You know what I mean? Like, I never felt that he's done that. So in the most tense moment, I don't think he lets his guard down, lets that slip out. So I think you're right. I think it was more about the players. And again, he wasn't saying they're bad or whatever. Just we didn't adjust as
they didn't have answers, Struds.
Yeah.
Like look at him the other night when the question I asked him about the game. He didn't have answers. They didn't have answers.
Yeah. You're right. So I guess the answer is I don't really know what it is. I believe I know what it wasn't, if that even narrows it down for you a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
A couple of thoughts here. Paulie said, I actually thought it was a shot at the goaltending, not fixing it. Canadian said, I think it had to do with how the Oilers tried to handle Florida's forecheck. Ronnie Oceanfront said, I think it was more he was frustrated that Florida was just owning them in the middle of the ice. So it's a bunch of different interpretations here, which I guess goes to show that no one really knows exactly.
A thoroughly frustrated group that didn't have answers. And I think that's what it meant.
Okay, here's another really good question, and I had to double check this. I didn't know this, and you guys probably did, but this is really important, I think. Ro Nelson says it's American Thanksgiving, and the Oilers are presently a lottery team. It's past the quarter pole of the season. Do you trade your 2027 first when the second you do, San Jose automatically gets your 2026 first without top 12 protections as part of the Jake Wallman trade? That's really interesting. If they consider moving their first this year, they got to be pretty selective with it, I would think, Struddy.
Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I think they're making the playoffs. So I think it's irrelevant, but what other assets do they have? What other assets do they have to move that are would be highly sought after in this organization?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends on what you're bringing in, right? So like you would have Howard, you would have that first pick, you would have Savoy, you would have, the cupboards aren't exactly stocked full, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
guess
ahead.
my point is the draft pick's the one, right? That's it. That's the one that's going out the door.
Mars Boy, I think, with an interesting thought here too. He says, "I wonder if Wallman came back from injury too soon. Did Frederick come back from injury too soon? You know, we got this thing with Kapanen today. What kind of pressure are these guys feeling? Is this how in this market with this team, does it behoove them to come back before they're 100% ready, Shogger?
TD Force is a pro, man. He's been around a long time. And those players don't get back in without his okay. I got a lot of respect for him. He was with the Eskimos for years and years. No, I don't think Jake Wallman came back too early. I don't think that Kapanen came back too early. I understand what Brownie said. He got tied up with a guy. It was kind of an awkward play, and he got hurt on the play. So, you know, I think sometimes players want to get back quickly, Struds, and maybe that can lead to problems, but you got to get through the wall that is your doctors and TD Force, and they're pretty adamant about that stuff.
So with Kapanen, we don't know what his original injury was and what this one is. Like it could be something completely different, right? So I'm glad you kind of challenged Brownie a bit there. Their job of the trainer is to look after the players. It is number one job. And if the players aren't sure, they can now go get a second or third opinion if they're unsure. And you know your body as a player. You do know. And I was injured. I was never required surgery, but I knew when I started feeling better and you test it out. And this is a good training staff. And I believe every team has good training staffs. So these are $1 million chunks of meat you have. You need to make sure you have the best staff looking after these people. They're race cars. That's what they are. They're race cars. They're $1 million, more than that. In the case of some $100 million race cars, you need to make sure they're the best trainers. So they're not going to send the backward. I think you can put those tinfoils back in the closet for a while with that one.
Easy now, Struddy. Mars Boy says, what about when Ekholm came back last year, right? We all saw it. We knew he wanted to get back after the Four Nations. We all saw what happened. That was an unfortunate one, but we don't know the details. These guys are pros.
Different situation. Playoffs. Everyone's playing. They're if you look at the people that are injured, they shouldn't be playing. Do you remember when
No, but when he came back, Struds, not in the playoffs, but when he came back and hurt it and then missed a bunch of time and didn't get back until the playoffs.
But the injury was there. Right. So he was trying to trend towards the playoffs. Think back when Dougie Waite won the Stanley Cup. He couldn't even lift the Stanley Cup over his arm because his head, because his shoulder was separated. Right. So heading into or the playoffs are different. People play through. Look at Kachuk. Played through is probably half a groin. I mean, it's insane what people do.
Yeah.
And also we should point out, I wasn't trying to suggest that there would be pressure from team or certainly doctors for guys to come back, but also when they ask a guy, how's it feels good because they want to get back there. There has to be an element of that's outside of their reach, right?
100%. Yeah. No, I didn't take it like you were suggesting that, Zuby, but I just wanted to point out there's a few layers they got to get through of professionals that take their work really seriously.
Sure. Okay. Calvin Best says, if there's no change in the Oilers playing the next 5 games, what's the biggest question to ask about the team? What is the thing that needs to be done? That would bring us to around 30 games, which is when I think there was sort of a reporter discussion that's when Stan Bowman and the Oilers were prepared to, however they phrased it. That was the time where they were going to be sort of taking stock a little bit more. What happens if this goes on for another 5 games up and down the way we've seen it without much change, Shogger?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I mean, yeah. If the playoffs truly are in jeopardy, like if it becomes a situation in the standings where it's like, they might not make it, and it looks like it could be touch and go for a turnaround, I would say at that point, with a team that felt it was going to be a cup contender, I'd say at that point kind of feels like all bets are off. But I mean, they're 2 points out of the second wild card spot right now in a year that's a little bizarre in the standings. So I said it, yesterday in my chat with Gino Retta. We're not in the territory of talking about coaching changes and such yet. We're just not there. And it'll be a while before we're there. So what if? I mean, is Stan Bowman going to go make a trade, knee-jerk reaction trade? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to do that, Struds. 5 games. I don't know if that's enough to have the general manager saying, I got to pull the trigger just for the sake of pulling the trigger.
I love the way you phrase that. If there is danger of not making the playoffs, that's when they do it. They're 2 points out. There's no pressure. This team has not played well at all, and they're 2 points out of the playoffs. 2 points. We can count on one hand and count on my thumb how many good games the Oilers have played, and they're still 2 points out of the playoffs. Haven't been super healthy. There's so much upside to this group that I don't think Stan's panicking yet.
Struds, your thumb is on your hand. So when you say you can count on my one hand, you don't have to also say you can count on my thumb as well, because it's part of your hand.
But there are some people that would not include that in the digits, right? So it's like I'm like 4 fingers on a thumb, so five total, right?
But you said you can count on my hand, but your hand, we would assume that you meant five, well, not 4.
But I was just for the people at home that aren't maybe watching or listening. They want to make sure they're clear.
Just clearing that up.
They haven't seen Struddy's hand. They have no idea how many fingers might be on it.
Might be missing some.
My name's Jeff, says, love this podcast. Most reasonable takes on pro sports anywhere. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, wow.
Appreciate
That's
that.
Nice.
Okay, I'll try to keep this moving, but there's really great stuff tonight. Blommer wants to know, maybe this seems obvious, but shouldn't the Oilers take a run at Sherwood? Interdivisional, sure, but man, he'd inject some juice into this Oilers team right away. I don't think he scored last night, but he had a 2-on-1, hit the post, beat the goalie so cleanly and hit the post. He's coming down a little bit because he has to. I think his shooting percentage is like 30% or something crazy like that. But I mean, he's just all around it. The puck seems to be finding him. Should they be taking a run at him, Struddy?
So, is he that much better than Kapanen? And is that the guy you're going to go out and get? He's going to be at least a second, third rounder. Maybe someone's going to try to get a first round. I doubt it. If Kapanen's fast, Kapanen's bigger, doesn't hit as much, I think he could probably score as much if he got on a heater. I don't know. I'm looking for a big body that can score. That is not key for Sherwood.
6 foot, 190 pounds, give or take here or there. Yeah, I mean, he's having a good year. If I were interested in Kiefer Sherwood, though, I would be interested in how long he's going to keep it up for, because you're buying super high right now. Super high. So it'd be more like see where he's at trade deadline and see where those numbers are to really know what you're going to get, I would say.
Okay, let's we're going to get into some quick fun stuff here and then we'll wrap it up. Struddy, a lot of people commenting, especially at the start of the show, on your hoodie tonight and saying that you have a Unsolved Mysteries Robert Stack vibe there going there. It does look like is that intentional, the similarity to the Unsolved Mysteries logo on your hoodie
hood
there?
on that? Is there a hood?
No, this one's not a hoodie.
Sorry,
I took
sweatshirt.
the hoodie off.
Forgive
But yeah,
me.
not to that. But no, it's actually one of the schools I help coach. It's Xavier at St. FX. So I just help out coaching there and trying to teach the kids the finer points of being a highly skilled player.
But do you know if they're deliberately given a nod to Unsolved Mysteries? Because that would be amazing.
I'm not going to lie. Someone gives me a free sweatshirt, I throw it on. I'm not going to look at what it says on there.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Guarantee you didn't pay a penny for that purple hoodie. You're getting your money's worth out of that.
Oh, no, I bought that one.
Second show.
I love the color on that one. I love the color. For my hockey camp this year, I might get that color.
When's your new chair coming in, by the way? When's your new chair? That headrest is off-putting.
I know it bothers you. I think it should be here any day. So I had a special order this bad boy.
All right.
I didn't go down to a grad sale.
Okay, over on the Facebook, Elisa Eldridge wants to know, where can we stream Struddy's season of Battle of the Blades? I suggested CBC Gem, and she said she checked that, and it's not there. I would like to do a whole show on your Battle of the Blades experience, Struddy, because I didn't know you then. I was aware of it. I didn't watch it, but I want to know more.
Yeah, you know what? I have a DVD collection of all of them, and every now and then the kids will put them in and just laugh at me. But yeah. I mean, but you know, it was a lot of fun. It's a neat journey to go on and to see it. But yeah, I've never found. I think there's one of my. I'll see if I can find one of them on YouTube. I think there's one of my dances to Bruno Mars. So yeah.
Okay, Last comment here tonight. Oh, well, let's get Blomers in here. He's got a good one. He says, man, when you guys were talking about the media guys and Matheson, he said late 90s on CKNW in Vancouver, Neil McRae would rip Struddy while I was being driven to school. I remember it well. Do you remember that, Struddy?
I wasn't listening when I was getting ripped, but I know I got ripped a lot. Honestly, listen, I'm in the media now. I can only imagine what was being said about me when I was playing. But honestly, it's part of I accept it as part of the job. You're just like, okay, people can rip you. And then sometimes they say nice things. Like it didn't affect how I played. I remember almost every year I went to camp, it would be like, hey, this young guy's coming in who's going to take your job. I'm like, okay, great. Let him try. Let him try. And then old Uncle Struddy will still be there at the end of the year, right? Like that's kind of the job, right? Like,
love it.
I don't know.
Love it.
Okay.
Is that it, Zuby?
No, I got to do this last one. Quick story here. So Calvin Best said when you were talking about doing the movie review show, he said it'd be the Canadian version of Siskel and Ebert. Do you know this story about Graham Neal had a segment? Our friend Graham Neal, who's a friend of the show and a listener, probably watching or listening right now, he had a movie review segment on CTV News, CFRN News in Edmonton before either of us worked there. Do you know about this?
No.
And his idea was, I'm going to go through the phone book, remember those, and find people with names like Siskel and Ebert, but not exactly. And he cold called people, and he found he got, and I guess it was like an old man and an old woman, and their last names were Siska and Eberts with a Z on the end. And he phoned these people and made a segment that was him going to the movies with two random people, and their names were Siska and Eberts. I don't think I ever even saw the segment, but he told me, it's so funny. Anyway, shout out to Graham Neal, usually watching the show. That I thought was so funny.
You know, Graham helped me out when we were getting this thing started. We talked a lot about the branding and the got your back concept and all that. Like we talked a lot, Graham and I, when we got this thing going. So he was actually a big help getting this thing off the ground with some of the ideas and stuff. Hey, he's a beauty, Struddy?
Funny guy. Like, again, you look at him, you're like, look at this complete nerd. And then he's one of the funniest humans. And I remember we've gotten to those comedy nights, and him and Donovan.
Donovan.
Yeah, Donovan. The two of them are just tearing us up. Like, it's unbelievable, these two guys.
Kayla Wheathorn says, y'all are the perfect nightcap for Thanksgiving. You're welcome, Kayla, and we're happy to have you here. That wraps up our segment, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. That's Ask Us Anything. Time now for our modern measure play of the day. Holiday shopping doesn't have to be hard. Give the gift of looking sharp with modern measure gift cards. In Edmonton's Ice District, they're the leaders in made-to-measure style, from tuxedos to custom denim. Buy a gift card now and get a bonus 10% extra. Committed to providing you with a 5-star experience with personal touch and attention to detail that will exceed your expectations. Visit modernmeasure.com. That's MDRN measure.com. We're taking this one from you, Strud. Zuby had something he wanted to do. And he's taking the lead tonight. Zuby, what do we got?
Yeah, well, I can't believe we missed this yesterday on Struddy's World, because just yesterday was a very special 20th anniversary for Jason Strudwick. That some of you, maybe if you've been on the Twitter machine here in the last couple of days, would know about. It was the 20th anniversary of the, whatever it was, 15 round shootout in the first year of the shootout, right? That was, some people say, highlighted by the Merrick Malik through the legs goal to win it, but I disagree. Now, if you watch, I'm going to play the video here, no sound, but I'm going to play the video here, tweeted by the New York Rangers, their version of the highlights of this long round shootout. And let's see who the combatants are. Oh, it's Ovi. Let's see who the most important guy. Ovi stopped. Then look at this fella, 34. It's Struddy, goal. And then, of course, the very important Matt Pettinger stopped. And then here, of course, is I don't even know if we need to watch this part. We all know what happens here. But Merrick Malik with the crazy. Anyway, 20 years ago, Struddy, can you believe it? In this amazing shootout.
Crazy. It was so much fun. And, I know I watch the shootouts all the time, but I just like to see, I want to see it go deeper. Like, I think you should almost have to go through your whole team before you can go back to the same guy. Let's get some get some more action going. Let the guys at the bottom of the roster go and create some more drama. Because you remember, the goalies are awesome. You don't put your worst goalie in as you go. You keep the same great goalies, and the shooters just get worse and worse. Like, by the time they got to me, I think he looked at the Zamboni driver as an option before me.
I love the sell you too. You just pointed, just one glove point up.
Yeah.
Just one glove
What else
point
do you guys
up.
want?
Was that your
Is
classic?
there anything else you guys want tonight? Just a goal? Like, is there anything else?
Yeah.
Solve
Hey,
world hunger?
if you watch the extended, there's a really good extended version that features Struddy as well.
That's
You
so
even had a
funny.
big double fist bang on the glass once you got down past the bench. You were
I was
pumped.
so happy. I was so happy I wasn't the loser that lost it for us. That's why.
Might be the longest
I
show
love
we've
that.
ever done. 104 minutes on an off night. But man, lots of great questions, lots of great
such
contributions.
good
So we went a
questions
little long tonight. And a big thanks to James Duthie for joining us. Grab his book, Certified Beauties, at your local bookstore. Great Christmas gift for the hockey fan in your family. Good job, boys. Thank you kindly. We'll talk to you after the Seattle game on the weekend. Struds?
Talk then, guys. Have a good one.
That's an afternoon game too, isn't it?
It is, yeah. 2:00 start. So
Right,
it'll be, we'll go up after the pod and we will chat then. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving to our friends south of the border. Chat with you again soon here on Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse. See ya.